friends, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and today we're doing an herbal video. We are doing a video on cranberries, and this little basket of cranberries I got from the store filled my bowl so much that they're barely sitting in there. So these are some fresh cranberries, and as you can see, some are trying to escape. These are going to be great. I already know that I'm going to string some of these up for the holidays. Funnily enough, I did not find any magical properties in Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. What? Or this book either, or Magical Household, or any other of Scotty's books. So I only found it in the form of eating it, the magic of that. So there's some fresh cranberries. They're just beautiful. I'm going to have to look into whether you need to dry them in the dehydrator before you string them, or if you can just string them and dry them. So we've got three things we're reading out of. First, we'll read out of the only hand magic, or magic that you would just, not internal, ingesting magic and not medicinal. So the only actual magic for spells and workings I found was in this book. And on page 244, it says cranberry is a magical fruit, and the properties are protection and healing. Okay? So if I want to protect and heal my home during this holiday, I could make a string of those, which I will be doing. That sounds like a lot of fun. I already do that with juniper berries, and I do little strings of those for things. So I might string these and put them on our Yule tree. I think that might be really fun. And the DIY would be super simple. You might just see me sit there and string them. Okay, so that's what we found. Protection and healing. Thank you, Sky Alexander. Can't believe I couldn't find it in any of other Scotty's books. But now we're going to talk about the magic of ingesting it, okay? And that's where Scott Cunningham has Wicca in the Kitchen. Now, it shows up on quite a few pages, and there are a couple of typos, and I'll show you where they are. In the index, on page 371 of the index, it says that cranberry comes up on page 108, 231, 233, 299 through 300. It says page 323, but it's not. It's page 325. It says page 326, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so if one of you guys can, let me know. And then it says page 330, but it's not. It's page 332. And let me say again, the writers of these books have so much to do when they're going through and they're figuring out where exactly they said cranberry 10 times in this book. So I am by no means trying to say they did a poor job at all. They do an amazing job with these books. I'm just merely trying to help. So those are kind of my little tiny notes on what happened there. So yeah, we'll start at page 108. And that is where we see it here. And the planet is Mars. The element is water. The energies, and look, the planet being Mars kind of makes sense. Like, it looks like a red planet, the cranberry, I guess. Some of them are darker, but, they form that way over time. Either way, it does look like a red planet. Energy's protection. So when you eat it, it's protection, but in magic, it was protection and healing, okay? But when you eat it, it's protection. Lore. Cranberries, native to North America and Europe, were eaten by Indians. They were eaten by Native Americans long before being introduced to the Pilgrims. A close relative to the cranberry lives in Hawaii. The Ohelo, which is a different strain of the cranberry, grows in short plants found at higher elevations. The juicy red fruits, which taste like cranberries but are sweeter, are made into jam and are the central ingredient to the infamous Ohelo berry pie served at the Volcano House on the rim of Kealua Center on the Big Island. Magical uses. The sourness of cranberries makes them an ideal protective food. So that's good to remember. Sourness makes it protective, okay? Eat sweetened cranberry sauce during protective meals. So he's saying to get more down, just sweeten it up so that you can get more in. Okay, that's all that it says in there. And now we are on to page 231, where it talks about a couple of things in protection in general. Now, it just kind of starts in the middle talking about cranberry, so I'm going to read a little bit more. The daily life of a magician isn't a constant struggle between... The daily life of a magician isn't a constant struggle between the forces of light and darkness. Rational folk magicians don't spend half their time chanting protective spells and the other half wearing charms to guard themselves from evil. However, we all have periods when we sense the need for protection. Listen to your intuition, because it will tell you. However, we all have periods when we sense the need for protection. This chapter gives you some delicious ways to guard yourself. A protective diet can also be useful for starving off physical danger. Naturally, if someone's trying to mug you, you won't be able to drink a cup of cranberry juice or munch a slice of garlic bread to halt the robbery, because you don't know it's coming. But like, you can use these as preventatives. If you feel that you need that protection coming on just by meditation, intuition, or just you have that feeling driving to work, listen to it and just start adding all those protective foods to your diet. In this book, there's a whole category on protective foods. I sure will do a video just on protective foods at one point, just on love foods, just on money foods, just on health foods, all of that. But I haven't done those yet. So, upon a request, I will do them quicker, however. A protective diet, right. So you won't be able to do that beforehand. If you live or work in a crime-ridden neighborhood, however, or you've been attacked before, you should be doing these preventatives. Or if you simply think that you should smooth out a few kinks in your physical or your psychic armor, add these foods to your diet. A few words on domestic violence. If you're a battered wife, child, or yes, indeed, husband, don't eat protective foods. Call your local police station. Scotty doesn't never play around with violence. You involve whatever you need to involve. Call the police. Don't let yourself be abused. However, protective as in you want to be a preventative protective, and you want to protect yourself against things that could come to you, not that are already there hurting you. If you're being hurt, you tell somebody. Okay, and then on to page 233, we find cranberry under protective fruits, because he gives a big giant list of all the protective foods. Okay, so, and again, if you guys need that list, just message me and I sure will share that with you, or do a quick video on it. The Drunken Pumpkin under beverages on page 229. So 1 pumpkin, apple cider, cranberry juice cocktail, ginger ale, and rum. Slice off the top of the pumpkin, scoop out the seeds, and clean out the pumpkin as thoroughly as possible. Pour roughly equal amounts of apple cider, cranberry juice cocktail, ginger ale, and rum into the pumpkin until full. Then pour liquids back out of the pumpkin into a saucepan. Warm until just boiling, and then refill the pumpkin with the liquids and serve immediately. Scotty's note. Save the seeds and use for roasted jack-o'-lantern seed recipe listed in the appetizer chapter on page 296. Magical uses, it is a festival food for Halloween or Samhain. Yeah, so that was something that had cranberry in it. Cranberry says it's on page 323, but it's not. It's on page 325. And the planet is Mars, like we said before. In this book, it tells all the Mars foods. It tells all the Venus foods. It tells all the Gemini foods. It tells... So next, cranberry pops up under Capricorn as a Capricorn food. And that's on page 332, not page 330 as it had said. Okay guys, so it was lovely doing this video with you. Oh, I forgot. I'm not done. That's funny. Well, it's still lovely doing this video with you. Now we're on to Supermarket Sabbaths, where we get the polarity. And it says, cranberry. Element, fire and water. Okay, interesting. Planet, Mars and Venus. Okay. Polarity, yin. And magical uses, it says protection, love, and a wine substitute. So it's coming up protection, protection, but now is the first time we've seen it as love, and this is from a different author. And lastly, okay, medicinally, you guys, cranberry juice. If you're a woman, you know it's great to prevent urinary tract infections or bladder infections or kidney infections, any kinds of those things. But where all those start is the urinary tract infection. If that gets bad enough, it'll go into a bladder infection, which then can go to a kidney infection and you can die. I have had a kidney infection before from that exact thing happening, and that was when I was 19. It was very scary. I had a temperature of 106 degrees and I was literally hallucinating in the emergency room. Very scary. But I learned that cranberry juice, not cranberry juice cocktail, cranberry juice concentrate, you know, like real stuff, organic cranberry juice, nothing else added. Get that and, you know, drink a shot of that every morning, and it is sour as all get out, and it lasts a long time. You know, where you can juice these yourself just like this. I paid the extra $1 to not get the what do you call it? Ocean spray cranberries they had in a bag, or they had this like local cranberry company, and I just paid the extra $1. They're still not organic, but they're local, so that to me feels more magical. But in this book, it didn't talk about cranberry juice. All it says was cranberry, page 224. And I go to page 224, and it says cranberry. Below are some examples of common plants used as dyes. A comprehensive list would be much longer, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so the plant, cranberry, the part used for the dye is the stem and the leaves. Not the berry? Really? Okay. The color you'll get is a yellow or red, and the material you would dye it with would be wool, linen, or cotton, and the moderant is alum. So, yeah, you know, this was all part of this herbal handbook I have from David Hoffman. And also I want to add, I've misplaced my incense oils and brews by Scott Cunningham, but I know cranberry juice pops up in there, at least under the magical inks, I believe. But I'm not 100% sure. So if anybody has that book, can you please look up for me under cranberries and see if anything pops up in there, so I can make sure I complete this video in my own mind, you know. And if I was going to string these cranberries, yeah, maybe I'll just stop this and do a video and come back and string them for you guys. So I will do. All my love, and I hope you're having a beautiful Yule, like preparation for the Yule that's upcoming. Jen, the Taxidermy Witch. Cranberry.